Alright, Shalom, Kahu La, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Chak, Wadash, double honors to the Apostle Elder Great Millstone, Shalom to Hopeful Leg, this is Brady Call from G-Man's Cleveland Camp, Lord willing, with a quick edifying lesson to get right into it.
And the Israeli regime has to be punished when the regime attacked the Iranian consulate in Syria. The British regime, the French regime, the German regime, the Americans blocked condemnation in the UN Security Council. In other words, they supported a strike on the Iranian consulate. Iran had to punish the Israelis there, but this time I think the punishment is going to be significantly more severe.
Do you think the response will be bigger than that previous response, which was in itself huge and required international cooperation from American, British, and from the government?
That time round, the Israeli regime spent $1.5 billion and the Americans spent $2.5 billion trying to down deep drones and old Iranian missiles, and a handful of advanced Iranian missiles went right through the defense system and struck their targets. This time around, I think, yes, the response will be more severe, and the Israeli regime is going to have to take the consequences. And the Iranians have no option but to punish him to prevent him from continuing.
This week, our commitment to Israel's security and defending them from malign attacks like those from reckless regimes like the Iranian regime, that is unwavering and ironclad, and that continues to be the case. Israel is, of course, a country that faces a number of threats.
All right, and you see the fucking hypocrisy of America. But anyway, all right, I want to play this because, you know, this is the last 24 or 48 hours. Yeah, the situation going on. And, I just want to go into real quick. Zephaniah 3, of course I did a call. As soon as I start the video, Zephaniah 3 and 8 says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy," man. Because the Lord's determination is to gather all these different heathen nations and destroy them in the valley of Yahushua over there, the so-called Middle East. All right, the area with Saudi Arabia, the land of Israel, you know, Turkey, that area, northeast of Africa, that whole little area. All right, that the area right there is the main place that World War III will be fought. And it's the Lord's determination to bring these nations there for this great battle of World War III, Armageddon, man. All right, that's when Yahushua himself is going to make his grand return. All right, I'm going to go into this word real quick. The word provocation. It says incitement or urging. All right, it says incitement or urging, or calling forth a summoning or a challenge. All right, it says to call out, an act of exciting anger or vexation. All right, the meaning, anything that excites anger or causes resentment. And we see that right now, man. Okay, we're seeing a cause of resentment or anger. Okay, that's being done by these the so-called Israelis, man, the fake Jewish people, the Amalekites, man. All right, they're the ones that are again, you got the nerve of the U.S. to say that they're reckless. Iran's being reckless. I mean, no, the Israelis, so-called Israelis, you know, the Amalekites and fake Jewish people in our land. Here it is. First in 2020, no, late 2019, they killed a nuclear scientist. Then at the top of 2020, they killed was it Soleimani, one of the top Iranian generals. All right, now they just killed one of the Hamas, or one of the Hamas leaders, man. All right. So again, these guys, man, they're constantly provoking, but they got the nerve to act like everybody else is provoking them. They're talking about, oh yeah, the so-called Israel has a bunch of enemies and act like they're the victim and everybody's just trying to pick on them. No, they're the aggressors, man. But when everybody responds, what? Esau loves to throw the rock and hide the hand, so to speak, man. All right, but the Lord is dealing with this, man. All right, Lord, the Lord has a plan for this devil. Let me get because part of the reason why the Lord is doing this, we go to Joel 3 and Yeah, this is Joel 3 and verse 9, because in this chapter it goes into the reasons why. It's like, I may have it in this video soon. I was expecting the call. Of course, the call doesn't come. As soon as I start the video, then the call comes. So Salakia, I'm trying to make this quick. Joel 3 and verse 8, it says, I'm starting to go at 9, but you know, the earlier chapters, it goes into the destruction. Almost like it goes into the
And we'll continue with that video in just a little bit. Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors the elders and apostles, the great millstone, who are teaching this truth in sincerity. And a shout out to Akims out there in the four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. Rakadi Yahweh, Rakadi Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Rakatan. So everyone knows the next, when Iran strikes back, it's going to be much more severe. I mean, that is a promise guaranteed. Now, you also had the assassination of a Hezbollah leader as well. Fighting has entered new phase after Israeli assassinations. Hezbollah Secretary General Nasrallah says the fighting has entered new phase after Israeli assassination of top commander Folo Shakir and Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh. In a speech broadcast at the funeral of Shakir on Thursday, Hezbollah chief said Israeli state has crossed red lines in the assassination that it must expect rage and revenge on all fronts supporting Gaza. So you can see that very much so. Things are escalating real quick, which means that we must be getting closer to the time the MOTB will be made mandatory, because look at all these escalations. And like everything else though, Hezbollah has struck back with missiles. Expect more retaliation as well. But they struck back at the Israeli state. You can hear the dogs barking. They have every reason to bark. But yeah, these Israelis, we're supposed to believe that Muslims are the terrorists, I mean, according to Amalek. Even though all they're doing is retaliating for what was already done to them. Who drew first blood? The one that started the fight is usually the one that's causing the fight. But you know how Esau loves to play the victim, especially these Amalekites. So, like everything else though, this is hilarious. Resident Biden, I love how that's misspelled. I wonder if it's done on purpose. Resident Biden claims we're not in a war anymore, anywhere in the world. While the U.S. is funding 2 wars, providing billions of dollars in weapons, and instigating World War III. Exactly. Under Biden's now new definition, not at war, the U.S. could give Iran nuclear bombs. Oh, come on, man. Okay, here's the thing, is that, okay, you can see he's a Zionist propagandist. You know, yes, Alex Jones is a Zionist as well. And biological weapons to use on Israeli state or Russia, but the U.S. would not be at war. Okay, so this is more on the side of the Israelis, so. Yes, Ukraine and Israeli state are currently using U.S. weapons. U.S. funding U.S. service members and U.S. government lies to field 2 wars that are bankrupting the nation, decimating its own military defenses and propagating massive loss of innocent lives around the globe. Well, like everything else though, not at war though. Yeah, just keep on funneling money there. U.S. pledges new military deployments to support Israeli state. Yeah, they're going to go defend the Israeli state. President Biden vowed to back West Jerusalem with concerns of Iranian retaliation over the killing of the Hamas political chief. So, yep, U.S. terrorists will be there and help them fight the war of Gaza. Just fight all the wars that they want to start. U.S. President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister discussed new U.S. military deployments to help Israeli state defend against all threats during call Thursday, according to the White House readout of the conversation. The call followed the assassination of Hamas leader in Tehran on Wednesday. Biden reaffirmed the U.S. remains committed to the Israeli state's security against Iran. And like everything else though, you know, the U.S. supports, you know, They have their proxy terrorists against Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, according to the readout. So, like everything else, so, you know, more terrorism, but the Israelis are the ones terrorizing. Haniyeh killed by bomb placed in Tehran guest house 2 months ago. An astounding Mossad penetration of the IRGC security. See, this thing's been there for almost 2 months, is what it's saying. The New York Times is, see, they're boasting about how they were able to do it. The New York Times is boasting Thursday about the events the day prior that he was assassinated by explosive device smuggled into Tehran guest house where he was staying. According to 7 officials, including 2 Iranians and American terrorists. The bomb has been appropriately 2 months ago in the guest house, according to 5 of the Southeast Asia officials. The report continues. The guest house is run and protected by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps that is part of a large compound known as Nishite in an upscale neighborhood in Tehran. See, the Israeli state knows how to get in there. They've been penetrating security for a long time. Iran will attack. Officials in D.C. reportedly believe the Islamic Republic will avenge the assassination of the Hamas leader. Well, just because it happened in Tehran itself. I mean, that's Iran territory. That's the capital. Iran and its allies are expected to launch large-scale attack on the Israeli state within the next few days following the assassination of the Hamas chief in Tehran. So this is, you can best believe we're going to see some fireworks this weekend. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. According to CNN, U.S. President Biden's administration is preparing for Iranian retaliation against the Israeli state. Could potentially target American terrorists. Similar reports have also been shared by Axios, citing that they believe Iran's response is imminent and could involve Hezbollah. Well, Hezbollah has already been taking action of their own. I think that this one's going to be a little bit separate. Even though they're on the same team, they're going to deal with these things a little bit differently. Iran, you're going to know when they make a response. And like everything else, though, here we go. Here's a little bit of, you could say, speculation as to what's going to happen in the next few days. This is from a journalist who works for Press TV. We'll play a little bit of it anyway.
Israel has been restrained from carrying out assassination policies on Lebanese soil, not due to a lack of desire or military capability, but due to rules of engagement imposed by Hezbollah. This reality has shaped Zionist Israel's approach to Lebanon for over a decade. The events of October 7, considered among the most daring actions in the history of the Arab-Zionist conflict, were too significant to be confined within the frameworks established by previous military and strategic contexts. Consequently, the recent assassinations targeting Hezbollah leaders were Zionist Israel's way to cover up the accumulated failures of the past 9 months. While Benjamin Netanyahu views this as good propaganda to convince the public of the necessity of continuing the war, a wide range of Israeli entity officials agree that the assassinations may be a tactical success but will lead to strategic failure. They argue that the assassination of the party Secretary General Sayyid Abbas al-Musawi contributed to the rise of a young leader back then, Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah. Despite international humanitarian law prohibiting assassination policies, the Israeli occupation entity legalized this policy in 2002, a global first, with certain conditions that were not adhered to, requiring the Prime Minister's approval. This leaves ample room for the potential misuse of assassinations to serve the personal interests of the Prime Minister without necessarily achieving the entity's interests. In practice, the approach to the recent assassinations carried out in Lebanon over the past period reveals that they did not achieve their intended goals. In examining some facts that Netanyahu prefers to overlook in his desire to prolong the war and for reasons related to staying in power, the following can be observed. Assassinations did not deliver achievements. Netanyahu's failure to achieve complete victory in the Gaza Strip led him to chase after an image of victory to present publicly and leverage in ongoing negotiations. If assassinating leaders in Hezbollah had given Netanyahu the victory image he needed, Zionist Israel wouldn't be facing increasing internal division and mutual accusations among officials. Assassination of leaders did not restore Israeli entity deterrence. Every assassination was met with a calculated and escalating response. The resistance's reaction to the assassination of unit commander Mohammed Na'mi Nasser showed that the unit's capabilities remained intact. The Israeli entity escalation did not deter the resistance from retaliating, including targeting previously untouched bases like the Technical and Electronic Center in Mount Hermon, attacked for the first time since 1973. Welcome to the Media Stream. I'm Mark Rossman.
We're going to forward a little bit.
To tell you the truth, actually, I've been partially I answered this question when I said a little while ago about what's happening and how did we do it and how do we do it. The thing is that when you talk about the reprisal or this, it's not a vicious cycle of tit for tat. It is we are standing to the Israeli aggressions. We are in a position to retaliate, in a position to hit back, in a position to strike them again. And when we make this equation, you know, the Israelis had long time ago had their equations and the formulas that we have to live, we have to obey, we have to comply with. Now it is the other way around. We are part of the equation, and we are very important. This is a very important deterrent force, a deterrent force that would make the Israelis make their own calculations and not go into tit for tat.
But it's been 9 months. Who's going to say ouch first?
I'll give you the answer. Now, you're saying it's 9 months, but it is limited in a certain geographical area and to certain goals or to certain things, not an open confrontation. Why is that? Had the Israelis been in a position to start an all-out war against Lebanon and to target the southern suburb or Beirut or the electricity plants or whatever, they would have done it a long time ago. And they used to do it without any say, without any questioning or whatever. Why they are not doing it? Because they know the kind of retaliatory action that would happen would be devastating on them. So you're talking here not about only tit for tat and the vicious cycle, you're talking about formulas, equations that are being installed in reality and that would put the Israelis in a position to count 4,000 before they go into targeting certain goals. This is a formula and an equation of protection and deterrence, and it's a balance of terror, I presume.
Dr. Ibrahim Moussawi, Lebanese member of parliament for the loyalty to the resistance.
Reconstruction plans related to universities, to letting Palestinians leave Gaza, giving them visas in European and in Western countries. It's part of the whole package. And all the region, so the West should pay, but what should happen is different from what will happen. Well, we live in a world
over 40 billion to restore Gaza, which is not going to get restored.
Controlled by the US mainly, and the US is acting like a shield for Israel inside of this organization, and that's why Israel won't be accounted for what it did, and the US, of course, won't be accounted for what it did. But rather, they will try to let the Arab world just repay for the reconstruction inside of Gaza, and also I think inside of Lebanon and other countries that were affected by the war, and that's what will happen. And I think today there are some signs that the Arab world is willing to pay for reconstruction, and I don't think it's surprising. But we have seen how the Arab world, how the Arab governments, to be clear, how the Arab governments reacted to the war till now. They are acting also as a shield to Israel, and that's what they will continue to do after the war ends.
They have a lot of reconstruction to do in Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, Gaza, and that added to the big budget that they already paid. Thousands of billions of dollars were paid to end Yemen, Syria, Iraq, and now Lebanon and Palestine. I want to thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed Zwaidan, researcher and geopolitical commentator, for joining us to discuss this issue. Thank you for your contribution to our...
Yeah, but that bill's never going to be paid for because you already know that Damascus ends up being destroyed, which is part of what draws everyone in. You know, it's a major part. It's a prophecy that hasn't happened yet, but it will happen after the MOTB is made mandatory. But you can see where this is going. You know, whether Harris or Trump gets in, well, here's what the Harris Task Force urges: online age verification digital ID tool development. Yes, the current White House is now urging the tech industry to, among other critical steps, inform parents about developing and building digital ID tools in either apps or devices themselves. You know, your digital ID. The online digital age verification creep in the U.S. continues from a number of directions throughout recommendations and studies. Especially the government is nudging the industry to move in the direction of implementing digital ID verification tools. A digital ID, which comes with an implantable micro C-chip. This is what's coming, and that's what's really behind all of this. As you know that we're more and more into the provocations of war. And like everything else though, well, quite simply put, you can see all the nations gathering down there. Now he's going to continue, and I got the other part of that video on Joel chapter 3, but I do want to, you know, bring up the main verse of Jeremiah 49 and verse 20, because you can see that very much so they're going to be brought in to defend the Israeli state. Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 20, and it reads, "Therefore hear the counsel of the Most High that he had taken against Edom and his purposes. The high place of Esau Edom is, of course, Babylon the Great. That he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman," which are the so-called smart ones, right? Which is another term for Babylon. "Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them." Because like everything else though, the top German scientists are right here in Babylon the Great. But their habitations will be desolate with them. In other words, this whole place is about to become wholly desolate. Tel Aviv and DC are going to be totally wiped out. You know, pretty much the Israeli state, Amalek, and the US are going to be wiped out in this war that they are starting. So, hopefully this has been edifying. I'm going to play a little bit more here. I'm going to close this out. Then I want to say, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Hashem Rakah Kadash, Wa Abal Babal. Rakatam, Jehovah Elect, Shalom.
This is going to be part 2. Salaki, again, I was expecting 2 important calls, and of course it came as soon as I started the video. But back in Joel 3, again, earlier this chapter goes into why the Lord's going to judge these nations. Again, why could they put these people in captivity? They sold us off, all over the earth, man. All right, across the four corners of the earth, north, south, east, and west, man. The global slave trade of the Israelites, man. So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are the true 12 tribes of Israel, man. All right, the Lord is about to plead for his people. Okay, so this is Joel 3. In verse 8, it says, "And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah." So these nations are going to slavery. Every last one of them. I can tell you in Jeremiah 30th chapter. Okay, every single one of our enemies are going to go into captivity. It says, "And they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord has spoken." Right, so your children are going to be stripped from you, man. All right, we'll have taskmasters set up over you. It says, verse 9, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, and all the men of war draw near, let them come up." Right, so the Lord saying what? Prepare war. That's what the Lord said. Same thing as Zephaniah the 3rd chapter. The Lord said it's his determination to gather the nations over there, okay, into World War III. It says, "Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong." Right, so put the money, okay, not into your infrastructure, not into building your economy, but what? Into building your military might. That's what we see. All right, all these different nations got thermonuclear capability now as well, man. All right, so it evens the playing field. They got ICBMs too. Okay, not only that, but Russia has even more advanced, okay, ICBMs than America, man. Okay, so again, all these other nations, like we was going into Ezekiel 38th chapter, okay, was what the other nations, the conglomerate nations joining up, and Russia being a guardian for them to come up against the bully, which is America, man, which is being led on a leash, okay, by, so to speak, by Amalekites in the land of Israel, man. All right, because again, you got that video of this dude acting like we're going to defend. What is the word? Let me go back. Yeah, we're gonna defend Israel, and they have a lot of enemies. Oh yeah, rightfully so. They made a lot of enemies, man. They go around again. That's 3 strikes, okay, unprovoked strikes now on Iran in the last 4 years. And I'm sure there's even more covert black ops stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't even know about. It don't even make the news, man. Okay, but these are
like their leader just getting killed.
Retaliation, like he was going into before when the missiles went over there. That shit,
that wasn't no accidental copter crash. They killed their leader.
Okay, even more severe retaliation from Iran, which is again, this is beautiful because that's one of the, again, Ezekiel 38. That's one of the allied nations that's going to be with Gog and Magog, which is Russia. Okay, which is the Persians, which is Iran, man. Okay, so back on Joel, it says Joel 3:11, "Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come to the valley of Jehoshaphat, but the Heavenly Father's name is not Jehovah, it's Yahweh." So it'll be Yahweh Shaphat. Shaphat is the Hebrew word for judge or judgment. Alright, so the Heavenly Father's judgment. "For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about." You see, so Yahweh Shemel Shai, he's ready to judge these heathen, man. They ran their course. Okay, let me get this. In Luke, they've had their time, man. Now it's time for them to pay for what they've done. This is Luke 21. In verse 24, this is in red letter. It says, "And they shall fall," and who's the they? It's talking about the Israelites. "They shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations." Like I said, I was going into that. The global slave trade of the Israelites. "And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled." That's what happened. Our little land is being trodden down by the Gentiles over there fighting for it. That's what this whole skirmish between Hamas and the Palestinians against the Israelis is. But also the actual people we've been trodden down, man. Okay, so it says what? Until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And we're in that time right now. So again, this is a real quick part 2. We're finishing out the video. With that, I'm giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahshai, Bahashem Chak Wadash, Deborah Sapaz, Elgin Millstone, Shalom, hopefully.